So I finally decided to make this video. I know I said I was going to do it a really long time ago, talking about kind of the change that happened in my life, but I'm just not getting around to it. Which is okay. It's a good thing, graduation's happening. So it's kind of a thing I get to leave high school putting out there. And so my first 3 years of high school, I was not a good kid. Snuck out a lot. Did a lot of drugs. Got in a lot of trouble, went to the hospital a lot. I say a lot, I think it was only 3 times. I was also very depressed, cutting myself, trying to commit suicide. It was very hard at 3 years. And even though there were some good times, overall it just was not. I was not living life. It was horrible. I hated it. I was so depressed all the time. And it felt like no one knew. I was put on a face. I was always happy, trying to be nice to the people. But inside I was quite literally dead. And so one night was with a group of friends, snuck out, and we were smoking. Started to freak out, like pretty much have a panic attack, and I asked them to call 911 if I passed out, and they were like, nah. And so I ended up calling some of my friends. None of them picked up. Some of the friends from school, not the ones I was hanging out with that we were doing drugs with. So I called my dad, talking to my dad, and after that, I ended up calling 911. So I'm sitting on the side of the street at a stop sign, freaking out. It literally felt like the render distance in my vision was turning down. It was like freaking darkness closing, and everything got darker and darker and darker until it was just this tiny little circle with the street light on me. And friends ended up leaving. I told them to go because I called 911. Didn't want them to get in trouble, which you can't. In Georgia, they have the Good Samaritan Act, but that's not what I'm talking about. So if someone is dying, please call 911. You'll be okay. You'll be safe. The ambulance came, got in the ambulance, and I was freaking out. I mean, I was really losing it. I looked, they hooked up my heartbeat, and when I looked at the thing that shows you how fast your heart's beating, it said 240 BPM. I was like, okay, that's whatever. I knew that was high, but I was like, whatever. And then I looked down at my veins, and they were all like coming out of my arm, like not actually out, but they were like bulging out of my arms, and it was horrifying. And then my heart started to beat. It was like I could feel it beating, and so I could feel it was beating fast, and so I was freaking out even more. One of the guys in the group had heart issues, and so I think that kind of made me even more paranoid about it. And it was hurting, and then my dad ended up coming in to the ambulance, and I just started crying and crying out to God. I was like, God, please don't let me die. Like, I know I can't please you. I know I've wronged you in so many ways. I know I haven't been a good person. And then I blacked out. And I don't know if y'all seen movies where someone's like unconscious and then like kind of regain consciousness, and they've got like the eyes that like slowly open, and then like, or everything's blurry, and they hear someone talking and then it shuts. That actually happened. And which was weird and scary, but I just remember faintly hearing my dad and this lady talking, them saying that I was gonna be fine, that all the drugs that they had tested for, because the weed we smoked, it could have been laced, they said that the major things they test for was clear. All that was in my system was THC, but there could have been something that they don't test for that was in there. But then the next day I had gotten up, and my life had just changed. I still talk to and sometimes talk to those friends in that group. I just stopped hanging out with them. I also stopped smoking. Like the day after, I just stopped, and vaping and everything else. And my depression was gone. I wasn't sad. I wasn't anxious or worried about anything. I just had a peace. It was so comforting and amazing. And I was free, if that makes sense, from a lot of things. I wasn't scared of dying anymore. It was just peace. It was just free. And then, I stopped hanging out with people for a while, and I started really just reading this thing. Not this specific one, but I started reading my Bible. I grew up in a Christian household. I was not a Christian. I never claimed to be one. I always said that I believed in a God. I believed that there was a God because too many things had happened in my life that I was like, there's no way there's not a God. I didn't care, no, anything like that. And I especially didn't want to give my life away to some higher power. I was like, oh, no, it's my life. What? That's stupid. But I found that it's actually been nice giving my life to God, because He's the one that made it. He created me. He knows me better than I know myself. And so I started reading my Bible. I read, someone had told me along the lines, the place to start is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the 4 Gospels, the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life. But I started reading my Bible. I read it pretty much every day. Started really diving in and trying to read and figure out, okay, well, God, you've changed my heart. I don't want these things anymore. These things that I used to do, I just didn't want them. I didn't want to do it anymore. But after that, it wasn't really feelings, it was lust. My lust for guys was gone. And I now have a crush on a girl, which is really new for me. I've never really experienced this before. It's awkward. And the people that know who it is, or think they know who it is, that's watching this video, you actually don't. It's not the person that people think it is. But my life completely changed, and I don't sound like I'm crazy, but it was thanks to God. It was thanks to Jesus. And that's why I am the way I am now. This past year has been full of change, a lot of change. It's been good. It's been great. But yeah, I will hopefully make another video that's a lot longer, that it goes in more depth. I definitely will, but this is the short version. So, anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this isn't as cringy to watch as it was to make.